Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to this, the finals of the Twitch TV Invitational, brought to you by Twitch TV, Playhem, and Thermal Take Esports. My name is TotalBiscuit, bringing you Empire.Kas. He is in the blue trunks, and he is playing Terran to the southwest of this particular map, the Entombed Valley, versus his opponent, mouz.MaNa. He is in the green trunks, and he is playing Protoss to the northeast. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. These guys are going to go at it. Best of 7, straight up. Who's going to win it, though, more to the point? That's a really good question. It's hard to predict this, and Kas is such a crazy, scary monster man. But then Mana, really accomplished player as well. Now, Mana has won 2 smaller tournaments before. This would be a fairly large win for him. Not his largest, but definitely pretty damn close. We'll see how it turns out for him. Kas plays a fairly safe style. Mana also plays a fairly safe style, so I don't really expect any particularly quick wins at this stage. Empire.Kas barracks up to start with. Let's see if he decides to grab gas early or if he goes for any kind of gasless build. Nothing necessarily wrong with going gasless initially. We'll find out very shortly. If he goes past 14 supply, yep, that's going to be gasless, as you can see. Anything past 14 supply, there's really no point in actually grabbing the gas, so stay at barracks for the moment. Kas has been known to go multi-barracks, as we've seen in the past. Multi-barracks and marine. Fairly effective against Protoss if microed properly, but I have a feeling this is going to be a 1-rack gasless expansion here. Mana scouted that immediately, so I'll see if Mana decides to punish. He could. He certainly could. I'm straight up into perhaps a 4-gate from there. Cybercore going down right here for Mana, so we'll see how it turns out for him. Kas will be expanding very shortly. So regards to where the expansions are on this map, I say I'm not familiar with it because I don't play it on ladder, I have it vetoed, so I've never actually seen it before. Expansion blocked off there by Mana, and down goes that command center. So you've got that expansion there, and then you've got the sort of a wide-ish natural, but certainly defensible, but the problem is there is actually an access route here. You can actually get in through the side, so it makes defending it just a little bit trickier. No sign of an expansion yet from Mana. Now, it could just go... He's actually going to take his second assimilator here. Interesting. Could be for a sentry-based expand. Could also be to go for much earlier tech, perhaps to go for early Blink Stalker, or even something crazy like Void Ray. All sorts of possibilities for him at this point. Kas, in the meantime, playing very safe. Second and third barracks now being added on after that, and a bunker will be placed at this ramp, I would imagine, fairly shortly. First sentry coming out here, so Mana not looking to save gas, which would indicate that he's not looking to get any really early tech. The expand will be coming in fairly shortly, as you can see. Nothing wrong with a sentry-based expand, especially against early marine pressure. And the Nexus coming down right about now. Stalker already out to shut this SCV down, so that will not be scouted either. That's a little bit of useful information advantage here for Mana. Denying that one without too much of a problem. Kas, on the other hand, already established here, and his economy is starting to roll. At this stage, Terran's going to be slightly behind, but it's a very easy catch-up, especially with double mules. The question is, what does Mana do from here? Because this is a nice, safe, established build for both players. Neither of them wishing to be aggressive early on. Can't really blame either of them, honestly. Mana not really in a position to poke up that ramp. If he does poke, he's going to get shot. I mean, he can have a look, certainly. He could confirm what's up at that ramp. See if there's anything special. At the moment, that's not the case. Simply going to be Marines and Stim coming out here for Kas. So Kas doesn't attempt to... Well, he's not prepared to attack anytime soon. Hasn't gone for the quicker upgrade. Knows his opponent's playing fairly passively as well. 3 gateways and a robo here for Mana. Nothing unusual about that one either. Pretty damn standard from him. Fast Colossus would certainly not be a bad idea here. We'll see if he takes the 2 gas immediately, then very possible that we'll see that. Large probe transfer down to the natural. And in the meantime, we've finally got that factory coming up here for Kas as well. Simply going to be Marine Marauder Medivac for the time being from him. It's absolutely fine. He likes that drop play. He's certainly a huge fan of that. MaNa hasn't taken these 2 gas down to the bottom, which is what intrigues me. He's going to put the Robo Bay down anyway. Now, really, he does want to be taking those other 2 gas. Simply because the cost of a Colossus, as well as the cost of the tech for the Colossus, it's fairly prohibitive unless you grab both. There we go. Alright, so we'll see MaNa standard death ball for the moment. And Kas still with very little except Marines. In fact, nothing but Marines. Now finally adding a Marauder into the mix, looking for the 3rd. And neither of these guys have any interest in attacking each other. This shouldn't really surprise you at the start of a best of 7, really. Neither of them are going to play particularly risky or aggressively. They want to try and get the upper hand in a straight-up macro game, which is, I've got to say, it's a little bit difficult to solo cast something like that. It's like, what can we analyze here? Well, honestly, all you can safely say is that both of these guys playing ridiculously cautiously. Can't really blame either of them. Kas says he has a headache. And MaNa is just MaNa, so we don't expect any real aggression from him unless it's in the form of a 4-gate. So, absolutely not. Kas's infamous scouting factory is on the way, but it'll take about 5 hours to get across the other side of the map there. Turns out, floating buildings around in rocket boosters is quite an inefficient way of doing things. Who'd have thought it? Kas still only on 3 barracks. Single engineering bay up, but no upgrades started as of yet, pumping all of his gas into medevac production. Can't really blame him for that, certainly. There's concussive shell and combat shields, and now finally is perhaps the time when Kas is going to do some damage. Because that's been spotted immediately by MaNa. He should be ready to shut that down without any problems whatsoever. In the meantime, MaNa's first Colossus is on the field, second one on the way. Extended thermal lance not available yet, but the first push from Kas honestly should be easily defeated, I would think. It's gonna... If he keeps going at this pace, it's going to strike slightly before extended thermal lance, though, so it's going to make things a bit unpleasant, but that's only Marines, so they'll be completely annihilated very rapidly. His Marauder count is starting to get fairly high. Here we've got the engagement over there, and absolutely not, says he. But in the meantime, that drops on the way, and MaNa is surely aware of that. He saw that coming, but he's not actually prepared for that yet. Needs to move in, and this is pretty much trademark Kas here, attacking from one direction and dropping from the other, but that's going to be shut down completely by MaNa without any problems whatsoever, and he's not getting out of there alive. Single Marauder may escape, the rest of that army easily destroyed. Kas now looking to see if there's a 3rd, and oddly enough from MaNa, that actually isn't. 2-base execution play coming in from him. The double Colossus. And only 2 Vikings on the way, so if MaNa was actually to attack right now, which is exactly what he's looking to do, then he could do significant damage. He's got a nice timing here. Kas having spent all of those resources into medevacs. Mostly a Marine force, some Marauders in there as well, and oh, a nice little catch there by MaNa, interception, and down goes another medevac. Army size is actually in favor of Kas, though, and he's going to be attacking into a defensive position. This could be difficult. This engagement here, though, should be fairly good. Kas has got a nice spread, though. That's what I'm concerned about. Ooh, nicely done there by MaNa. Snipes off 1 Viking. Takes the second one out as well. Now, that's a massive problem here for Kas. MaNa's going to be able to attack with impunity for a while here with those Colossus. And he is taking it right here to Empire.Kas. However, there's a lot of firepower there from him, too. A big spread there, but those Colossus are ripping Kas to pieces. Right now, Kas doesn't really have an answer to that. Stalker snipes off another Viking, and those 2 Colossi remain alive. Kas will have to stim in order to finish this off, but more reinforcements coming in there for the proxy pylon. Those almost look like zealots, but as it turns out, it was just a pile of daisies. MaNa needs to get out of there. First one taken out. Nice little stim there, and a quick pick up and go there by Kas. Things are getting very, very dicey here for MaNa. I don't know if he wants to stick around. He's done quite a lot of damage, though. He's killed 12 SCVs. Gets him in a nice little choke point, exploiting the terrain to his advantage. More SCVs coming on. That's fodder for that Colossus. And Zealots now at the front to try and deal with that. The Viking finally able to get out on the field and do some damage. And this will be cleaned up, but that was a lot of damage done there by MaNa. It's impressive stuff. The Colossus even gets away there. Very cheeky proxy pylon in the center, and that's 21 workers killed. Really good start there for MaNa. I say start, it's 30 minutes into the game, but you get the idea. This has been the first major attack to go on. Kas lost more in that engagement than MaNa did, and MaNa's in a fantastic economic position. He's got the tech in his favor as well. +2/+2 on the way for him. Zealot charge. Templar Archives if he needs to go for a Zealot Archon mix. Kas is trying to recover his losses here. He should be able to catch up fairly rapidly with the use of mules. But he just needs to get his army composition sorted out. He's got a lot of Vikings and not a lot of medevacs, which is a bit of a problem. However, it is primarily a marauder force, so it's a little bit more resilient against Colossus. MaNa's army isn't exactly that large at the moment, but he does have the opportunity to get a couple more war pins in. Now, if I recall correctly, he had... Yes, he had about 5, 6 gates. He's now got 7. Scouting factory placed to make sure that there's no expansion down there, and map control in the favor of Kas right now, but easily being shadowed there by that observer. It is there. It's a sneaky little bugger, I'll tell you that for a fact. The medevac count is still really, really low, though. That's what I'd be concerned about. If he went in for any attack now, he's got a lot of Vikings, but not so many medevacs. Unfortunately, we've got MaNa still continuing to build Colossus, which will be shut down extremely rapidly. Observer keeping an eye on things, making sure that Kas is up to no funny business, but what he doesn't know about is that base down there. That's a stealthy base here from Kas, could give him the economic lead, potentially. MaNa's been on top of this for the majority of the time. You can see the income's in favor of Kas, but that's because of mules. Ghost Academy coming down right now from Kas. Storm as well. Not going for Archons here. Of course, you can turn them into Archons afterwards, but at least getting himself Storm, giving himself an edge here against Kas, which is a good idea considering the large bio ball. And actually, the lack of medevacs is really going to play into his favor here. Kas is vastly overcommitting to Vikings. So once those Colossus come down, those Vikings are pretty much going to be useless. And Storm is going to be really effective thanks to the lack of medevacs. There's not enough healing power there. So I'm liking this an awful lot. It's good that he's not building any more Colossus. He knows the composition of his opponent, is reacting accordingly. You see that observer can see how many Vikings there are there. 4 more gateways being added on as well. Army supply count still in favor of Empire.Kas, who's about to get maxed out, but MaNa's got an upgrade advantage, a fairly significant one at that, and has a good composition coming in. 4 Templar available with Storms, needs to get a few more out there, and some big Storms could wipe that force out very rapidly. However, the risk is that they get caught out of position and destroyed by those ghosts before they're able to do that. So it is, once again, one of the most interesting mechanics here in StarCraft 2, the idea of EMP versus feedback, Ghost versus High Templar. Now, those Colossus are going to last about 5 seconds against that many Vikings. So I'm hoping he's not relying on that too much, but he knows. He is aware of how many Vikings he's going up against. He knows those Colossus are going to die. What he's managed to do is warp in a group of Zealots and has successfully scouted. Unfortunately, it is a planetary fortress, so he's not going to be going in there anytime soon. But he can attack from that direction and force an engagement. Zealots charging in for no apparent reason. They'd be better off trying to deny the command center and force a cancel, which is exactly what they're doing right now. Fortunately, that is still in range. Meantime, large force of Kas moving in, shutting down that proxy pylon. MaNa isn't maxed out yet, so he doesn't want to go and engage. He'd also prefer to wait for +3/+3, as well as Blink. He's adding another Colossus into the mix, which is an interesting decision. Now, perhaps he's confident that his Blink Stalkers will be able to clean those Vikings up quite rapidly. Medevac count is still really low here for Kas, and he's maxed out. He can't add any more. That's what I'm really worried about for him. Storms will rip into pieces here. Especially with the storm accuracy of MaNa. He doesn't tend to miss. Kas's army in a defensive posture, making sure that this base is not vulnerable at all. However, in the meantime, MaNa's taken a 4th and a 5th off to the corner. And this is about the time when an engagement's going to come in. And a Ghost at the front, which is never a good thing, but they managed to get a massive EMP off right there. Those Colossus will not last. The Zealots have been annihilated very, very rapidly, but here come the Storms to back that one up. Kas is eating them. Forward he goes, but a quick stim there and a defensive Psystorm to prevent them from stimming their way through there. A bit of an inconclusive engagement there. Both sides losing vast amounts of resources. MaNa, I feel, losing slightly more there. As Colossus going down, the Viking count has dipped. It's also freed up some supply for more medevacs to come in there. Both these guys simply posturing in the center here. 73 SCVs and 5 mules, so Kas with a good solid economic lead at the moment, banking up a lot of minerals. His gas count's pretty good too, so he can reinforce with whatever he wants, and this is the problem here for MaNa. The longer he waits, the easier it's going to be for Kas to catch up and upgrade. As we're already seeing, it's +2/+2, but it's about to be +3. +3 armor has now begun as well, so... Mana wants to remax out and attack before that happens. The longer he waits, the less advantageous those upgrades are going to be for him. Personal cloaking coming in. Once again, trying to keep those ghosts alive. He lost quite a few in that last engagement because they had to go to the front to EMP. And the Viking count has been reduced, but not quite enough. Gravitic boosters coming in as well there. Because hey, why not? Mana has a slightly smaller army here. That's what I'm concerned about. Kas is maxed out. Mana is not. Yeah, and he's going to see that army coming a mile away, so he'll be able to prepare for his engagement and try and take out this 4th base, which will also take out another orbital command here. And Kas is actually just going to push across the map, might even just go for a straight-up base trade here. However, there are plenty of Templar ready. I wouldn't want to run into that, and I think Kas sees it. He knows what's up. In the meantime, that base has been successfully destroyed, so good engagement here. The problem is Mana will get cut down the center right here. Big storms coming in, hits the Vikings, but not the large group of bio units. He needs to be very, very careful with that. Big stim, once again. Needs to try and take out his Colossus, and those will not live, and massive EMPs. That's all the energy gone, and the High Templar walk straight into a field of fire. Mana taking significant damage, but warping in yet more units, and this engagement is looking really, really good for him. Damage, damage, damage. Kas not able to get that +2 armor up, and those medevacs going to get torn out of the sky as well. Kas is getting absolutely crushed in the center now. We've got Mana with an excellent engagement. Even eating those EMPs, he was still okay. He's lacking a little bit in terms of a meat shield at the front, but he's got the firepower he needs to break his way through here. Kas does not have a lot of health left on that bio ball. A couple of Colossus shots will take that out, no problem whatsoever. Ghost coming in, already charged, and it fires off its EMP just before that's done. And this is looking really nice for Mana right now. Kas falling below 100 supply. Looking extremely good. Caught in the choke point. Annihilated very easily. Mana with the quick blink up and coup de grace. GG. Ladies and gentlemen, first game in this Best of 7 series goes to mouz.MaNa. Oh, yes. Oh, that is a really good start there for Mana. He needed that. Very impressive play there by him.